Welcome to What's Going On, the weekly podcast and videocast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Going On. I'm Pastor Katie here at First United Methodist, and I'm glad you could join me for this episode. We have had quite a busy month here at the church. October is always such a busy month. And so I'm going to take this episode of the podcast as a little breather, a little reflection time, because I need it, and maybe all of us do as we think through um, all that's been going on, and honestly, what a blessing it is to have so much happening in the life of the church here and broader and so on. And so in particular, I want to think about the last 2 weeks, but before I do that, I want to again say how grateful I am to be able to have so many people have joined me on the podcast so far this fall. It's been really fun to be able to connect with people and to hear about different things happening in the community and how we can be partnering and supporting. I think that's a big part of what we can do in our work to help transform the world as disciples of Jesus Christ. And so just again, a special thanks for Rebecca Meyer and the Contact Center and for the leadership from Habitat for Humanity. And we're going to continue to look at ways that we can be partnering and supporting the work that both of those organizations do. They're definitely in line with who we are and what we believe. And so it's fun to be able to get to sit down with them. If you have other ideas for people that you'd like to see on the podcast or things, topics to be lifted up, just let me know. I'm really open to, I love having people on the podcast. So I would be happy to do that. So if you've got some good ideas, make sure you shoot them my way. So these last 2 weeks have honestly been a blur a little bit because of how busy they've been, but um, I want to just share some reflections on the different things that were happening. And I'm going to start with one of my roles. And I've talked about it periodically, but I do think it's helpful to kind of keep lifting it up because I think it's hard when you don't have your pastor in the church when I'm out of the office for a few days at a time and you're like, what is she doing? Why is she gone? She's our pastor. But it is good and holy and hard work that I'm doing while I'm gone. And so I just want to be able to I always talk about, share, explain what I can about the work that I do on the conference side of things. So again, every pastor has an expectation that they are serving the conference in some way, just as we at the local church level need everybody who call this church home to volunteer and to serve in various capacities. We also have that on the conference level. Speaking of serving in various capacities, we do have openings for our leadership team still. We're looking for someone for finance and someone for SPRC and someone as leadership advocate. Leadership advocates' main priorities are taking notes of the leadership team. Really, really could use people for that. So please, if you are feeling the nudge of the Spirit at all, please let me know. All right, so my little plug aside, the role that I have, and I've been serving on the Board of Ordained Ministry since 2017. So 8 years. That's a long time. So in the local church, our terms are 3 years. On the conference level, they tend to be 12 years. And so I've got about 4 more years. But I've been serving in this capacity for the last 8 years on the board. And then in the last year, took on being the chair of the Board of Ordained Ministry, which is just a whole nother level of responsibility. If anybody's been a chair of a board before, you know that there's just extra work that comes along with being kind of the point person. And um, so attending these meetings becomes pretty important for me to be doing because I'm the one running the meetings. In the fall, the Board of Ordained Ministry meets, and along with our agenda and work, and we do work around credentialing and supporting our clergy and like so policy writing for policies, conference-wide policies for our clergy in particular. We are doing the credentialing work, so that's interviews for commissioning and ordination. In the fall, we do our ordination interviews. In the winter, we do our commissioning interviews. We also do work around like making sure that clergy are keeping up with their expectations around their behavior, around their requirements. So continuing ed, ethics and boundaries trainings. We run the residential program for our candidates that are in process with us toward ordination. We have our fingers in a lot of things, and so we have plenty to do. And so that is part of the work that I do for the conference, and that is again, every clergy has an expectation that they serve somewhere in some way. We have some clergy that serve on our Conference Council for Youth Ministry and are running that and doing the programs like our Winter Connection and Dakota's Youth, and we have clergy that dean and run camps in the summer or serve on the camping board. We have clergy that serve on our conference finance board, on our conference trustees. I mean, there's lots of places that people plug in and do things, and so um, I just want that to kind of to understand that that's part of my role, and it's part of our connectional system that we are all connected together and we serve and work together, and that's one of the things that I do. So, and it's because of the particular role that I find myself in right now. It's a little more work than it's been in the past, but it's good work and it's holy work, and I believe in it. And to me, it is in service to the church and in service to the church of the future, because we are trying to raise up and support and equip people who have been called into pastoral ministry in particular, but all kinds of ministry in reality. So that's where I was instead of being here for your soup kitchen. And I will tell you that I am so, so sad that I missed it. And I'm so, so sad that I didn't get any pie, like that there was none left. Bummer. But everything that has been coming back to me about the soup kitchen has just been amazing. We had just an incredible, I want to grab my little note here. Of course, I've stuck something on it. But we've raised over $5,000. I think it's like close to 5,500 now, as opposed to last year, it was just under 5,000. So we did even better this year, and the country store was a big part of that. And so that's just so exciting. And it's not even that part that people are excited about. What they love is seeing the church come together and seeing the church um, serve together and work together for kind of this greater mission, and to watch people just enjoy what we are offering them, and having so many people come through. It's an incredible thing. It's an incredible thing to witness. It's an incredible thing to be a part of. I think it's one of the best uh, examples of our church really coming together, all hands on deck. And so again, so grateful to all of the people who participated, all the people who had leadership roles in that as well. I want to give a special shout out to Lydia Gaziski in particular, really taking on a big, big role in that. And yeah, just couldn't be more pleased. Again, that money is the budget money for our United Women of Faith. They use that money for various things, but I want to lift up that one of them is providing camping scholarships for children in our church. They provide 50% of the cost for kids to go to camp, which is pretty incredible. And then they also support various local nonprofits, missions, ministries, things like that. And so all of the work that we do really gets put out into the world in ways that change lives. And so it's something we can feel really good about. And it's something that we take pride in. And you should all feel incredibly proud of that event that we pulled off. And I say we, but I mean you. So I mean I think I contributed 2 pies. So like and just again a testament to, I talked about it which I'll talk about later at Charge Conference, but I talked about how our church has a strong history, and I think it continues of strong lay leadership of people who are really invested, people who, you know, I think a sign of a really healthy church is a church that is not dependent on the pastor to be present or the pastor to lead everything and tell people what to do. But it's at the church who knows who they are, who knows what their mission is, who knows what they're going to do, and they can do it. And if the pastor's there, great. And if the pastor can't be there, you know what? We got this. And that is Methodist to the core. I mean, that is our history with circuit riders, right? The circuit riders would come and preach and they would do their rounds and they would do the things that pastors can do, so sacraments and things like that. But then they wouldn't see the circuit rider for 2 to 3 months. And in the meantime, the church was still the church. And the circuit rider was there to support and to serve it, but the people were the church. And I think that we are a church like that, and not to say that I don't have like a role and that I'm trying to downplay my role, but I think again, I think a really healthy church is a church where a pastor can come in and fill a specific role, but it's the church that really is the heart and soul. The people of the church are really the mission, and they get it and they own it, and it's theirs. And I'm here to plug in and be a part of it, but it is not on my shoulders as it shouldn't be. And when I see us do a big event like Soup Kitchen, where when I found out that I wouldn't be here, I wasn't worried because I knew that I didn't have to be here for it to be successful. So again, I just want to put that back on you all are amazing and I love you. And I'm so grateful to serve here in Yankton for many reasons, but that is a big one. The incredible uh, investment and leadership of our lay people. So uh, that was a big thing that happened. Uh, and then coming into this past week, we had uh, Monday night was Pastor Book Club, where we were discussing Posting Peace, which is a book about the role that social media plays, and how it affects our faith and how it affects the way that we live out our faith and how it affects our ability to be connected to one another. And I have to tell you, there was so much in that book that just spoke to some realities that I've been seeing over the years. I'm someone that, Facebook came out when I was in college, and so I've spent pretty much my whole adult life with social media as a part of my life. And, as we continue to grow with it and as we continue to, have more and more people be a part of it, there are blessings to social media, but there are also some really big costs to it as well. And so one of the things that the author was arguing, and the author is a pastor and a radio personality, is the way that social media affects our ability to be in community with each other. Now, it can help to build community, but the way that we interact on social media also can affect our ability around things like reconciliation and working to be in community and learn how to love people who disagree with us about things, which is really hard to do. And on social media, we don't have to do it. And sometimes our behavior and our patterns on social media bleed back into our life, not on social media. And so it was a really fantastic book, a really great food for thought. And so if you didn't get a chance to pick it up or finish it before the Pastor Book Club, I would actually encourage you. It's called Posting Peace. Um, and if you're someone who's been on social media but haven't really given any thought to how that might be affecting your life, or if you've been feeling like um, the rise in, I think, anger and division and especially what people post. And or if you haven't thought through like your own practices around social media and like, do you have your own ethical guidelines for what am I going to post? How am I going to engage? And I would encourage you to consider that because sometimes I think we don't put two thoughts before we hit post or, or type our response and sometimes we behave in ways online that we would never behave in person. We say things online that we would never say to someone face to face. And if that's true for us, what is our witness then? And how are we using the internet as a tool for connection to Christ rather than a hindrance or an obstacle. And so just really good food for thought. So loved the conversation. This next month, we're going to be doing a New York Times best-selling book called The In-Between, written by Hadley Vlahos, I think is how you say her last name. She's a registered nurse that has worked in hospice. And this book is stories from her experiences as a hospice nurse. And I'm very excited to read it. She's someone, speaking of social media, that I've followed on social media for a while. And so I've been anxious to get this book because she's someone who comes across as very sincere and sits in really hard places that many people can't sit in and sees things that are really, I think, good for us to hear. And so I would encourage you. I think the book is available even at like Walmart and stuff right now, or online. Or a lot of people have been listening. I listen to a lot of books as well, so that's another option to look at as well. So I hope that you will join us. That will be on November 24th at 7:30 here at the church. Even if you don't finish the book, come on down and join us in the discussion. I think this one in particular is going to be a really good one. And so I hope that you will join me in this. Um, so that happened Monday night. Tuesday night was our charge conference here at the church, and we were joined with a delegation from Gayville Wallen as well. And we had Reverend Brandon Vetter with us, who is our conference superintendent. I'm going to start trying to shift my language a little bit from district superintendent to conference superintendent. And let me explain why I'm going to be doing that. In the past, uh, well, our Dakotas Conference, which is North and South Dakota, is split into four districts. They've had different names over the years. The current names are really creative. We are in the Southeast District, which is the southeast corner of our conference. There's the Southwest District, the Northwest District, and the Northeast District. Like I said, really creative. It is very helpful, though. It's very easy to follow. And each district had its own district superintendent that cared for and oversaw the churches in their district. Post disaffiliation, the conference has been working very hard to live into kind of the new reality of when churches leave, their support also leaves. And so we have a limited budget. We also have a lot less churches in certain parts of our conference. There were kind of certain areas that had more disaffiliations than others. And so one of the ways that the conference was exploring that was new ways of doing the superintendency. And so starting December 1st, we're moving from 4 district superintendents down to 3. And then in doing so, they are no longer strictly a superintendent for their district. They are now kind of covering beyond those lines. And so there will be one superintendent that's going to basically cover North Dakota. North Dakota got hit a lot more. One, there are less churches there to begin with. Two, a lot more that left. And so Chris Munzenberger, based out of Fargo, is going to be covering pretty much the whole of North Dakota. There are a few churches in Western North Dakota that are in Mountain Time that the Southwest superintendent is going to be taking because he's in that time zone. And that's Dan Bader. He's based out of Rapid City. And so he will kind of be taking the Western chunk. She's got most of North Dakota. And then Brandon Vetter, ours, has expanded up to the North Dakota border for the Southeast District. He already had the most churches in his district because the Southeast District is one of the more populated, along the I-29 corridor, one of the more populated parts of our 2 states. And there's just more Methodist churches. And so kind of moving. It's still the language of superintendent. They're still doing the same work. They're just kind of their boundaries aren't the districts anymore. And so I don't know how well I'll do at this, but I'm going to try to shift my language to our superintendent or our conference superintendent. But if I say district superintendent, I hope you know what I mean. I did ask at our charge conference how that might affect our experience of having one, and he said it really shouldn't. He's not picking up that many more churches. He's still willing to be available to us whenever we need him. And I believe that to be true. Brandon has been our district, see, I already did it. I already did. It's going to be a tough transition. For the last year, has been very responsive, very supportive of our ministry here in Yankton. And so I do believe that it's not going to be a big change for us at all. The other thing the conference is doing that we learned at Charge Conference was the conference has hired on connectors, which are 20 hours a month, 3 people that are going to do work around resourcing and helping churches in different areas. One is for like call and renewal, one is for justice ministries, and I do not remember what the other one is, but you can learn more about those on the Dakota's website, dakotasumc.org, and you can see those things happening there. The things that were voted on at our charge conference on Tuesday night were the pastor compensation form, which you are welcome to view. You can come to the church office. Any of the documents from charge conference, you are welcome to come to the church office and view. We didn't print out a bunch of packets because the packets are literally this thick, and I'm trying to save a few trees. But it is not secretive. If you would like to see any of it, you are welcome to. So voted on the pastor compensation package as well as nominations. Again, I will say we have 3 slots open on leadership team that still need to get filled. Please prayerfully consider if God is nudging you in that direction. It is a fun group. We have a good time, I promise. And then we shared ministry successes, things where we see God moving, and it was great. It's also really fun to like have some time with the folks that gave of all and to see how God is moving in their community as well. It's pretty cool. And I'm really excited for what's coming and what's next and what God is up to. So that was Tuesday night. I only made it to Tuesday. Give me a second. Hmm. All right, so Wednesday night was our trunk or treat. This is an event that we partner with Trinity Lutheran and the UCC Church here in town, and it really is kind of the force of it is our youth that are doing it. So Trinity and UCC, all 3 of our churches, our confirmation groups, are the heart and soul of this trunk or treat. And then we invite other people to also um, decorate trunks. We had, I think, around 25 trunks for our trunk or treat. We could always have more. We got plenty of room. And so I would love to see more and more to make this event really worthwhile for people to be able to come and bring their kids out for. But 25 is awesome. I mean, that's a great trunk or treat, honestly. And I think we had around like 150 kids, and then you add in parents and all of that, and it's a few hundred people that are coming through, not to mention all the people that worked on trunks and things like that. Now, I have been telling you for weeks that I wanted to get our golden pumpkin. Trinity has been winning it year after year after year, and I gave it my best shot. Um, and this is what I've come to learn, and I'm okay with it. We do the Golden Pumpkin competition for 2 reasons. Let me preface this in this way. We do this for 2 reasons. One, because it friendly competition motivates kids. It just does. And it helps them get excited about it, helps them be extra creative, and it helps them make for a better experience. And so, that's a big part of why we do that. Second is that when we are giving kids tickets to vote, it is a great way for us to get a general sense of how many kids have come through, so that when we have for the next year and people ask how much candy do I need to bring, we have a sense of that. So it has a twofold purpose. And so with that in mind, Trinity won again. But uh, I will say that it serves its purpose because um, what I really saw and encountered was kids that were so motivated and so excited, connecting with the trick-or-treaters that were coming through, making it a fun experience because they wanted to have that little bragging right. And so I'm okay with the fact that they won again. And the second reason I'm okay with it is because I got second place. Yay! Um, uh, I'm so pleased. And so there were so many incredible trunks and new people who hadn't been part of our trunk or treat before bringing trunks, and that's so cool to see. And just again, a really, really fun night. Everything's always a little bit chaotic, and we're going to continue to work on making it a better and better event, especially around um, keeping everybody safe as they cross the street and things like that. It's just a hard thing when you have a lot of kids and you have a lot of vehicles. But I'm grateful to all the volunteers that helped to make that possible, and excited to do it again. I really love this event. It's one of my favorites. It's a really great community event. I see people from all across that I know all across the community who come out for it, and so it's become that when people find out that I'm the pastor of the Methodist Church, one of the things I often hear is, "Hey, we go to your trunk or treat." And I'm like, "Yeah." Not just my trunk or treat. Again, we partner with two other fantastic churches. It's one of our ecumenical things that we get to do together, and it's just so much fun, and I love it. Um, and yeah, so I hope that maybe that'll convince you to want to be a part of it next year. You don't have to have an elaborate trunk. Honestly, it doesn't have to, I one of my favorites, there were a couple really creative things. One of them, they had their car and they did big teeth on it and like two eyeballs, and their car became the trunk was the mouth. And then, so the car itself was a monster. That's not a difficult thing to do. And as long as you sit there with candy, the kids are gonna think it's great. We had a couple of, I saw it go around on like Facebook this year, video of like a Frankenstein monster. We had to reach in its nose to get the candy. Kids love stuff like that. If it's a little bit gross, they want to do it. So um, there's a lot of great resources. I saw at Menards this year that they had like trunk or treat kits even that you can get. And so if you've been holding off because you're like, I'm not a creative person at all, you don't have to be. Go to Menards, buy one of those trunk or treat kits, and put it on your trunk, get a bowl of candy, and you will add to the experience. And then you get to witness all of the kids and their costumes having a ball. And I tell you, it brings so much joy, so much joy into my life and hopefully into yours as well. Also, this past Sunday in church, we turned in estimates of giving. I do want to continue to encourage you, if you haven't yet, to turn in your estimate of giving. Either you can stop by the church office. If you have your slip that was mailed to you, we have more copies at the church office. Or you can go on our website at firstumcyankton.org. And if you click on the give button, there's a stewardship link there, and you can use that to enter your estimate of giving for 2026. That is also confidential. It only goes to the same person who takes on the slips as well. So that is really helpful information for our leadership team. They're going to be meeting again November 16th. And so, if at all possible, if you could have it done before that to give us the best information as we finalize budgets for 2026, that would be super helpful. And then the final thing I want to talk about today, so that's like a lot of what's happening. That's a lot. And that was just the last 2 weeks. Um, I'm a little tired, I'll be honest, but it's been so good and praise God. Uh, I'm gonna pause on looking ahead. This Sunday, we are doing our All Saints worship. And so if you have had a loved one who has passed away, one of the things that we do, one of the rituals we have in our church is to say, bring flowers to church and add a flower to a bouquet that we create um, during our worship service. It's our way. We're going to read the names and recognize those who have passed away in the last year that we have um, had their funerals for, but we also recognize that there are so many who've gone before us, who've passed away, that we carry with us, that we still grieve, that we still mourn, that we still want to honor and speak to their legacy. And so we open that up for everyone, that if you would like to bring a flower to worship, to honor a loved one, that we would invite you to do so. Maybe, talk to some of your friends who are part of the church. If you guys want to go in together on a bouquet of flowers and share those, you can do that. But I just want you to be aware that that is part of our worship this Sunday. Also, I will be out at HSC again Sunday afternoon, and we also do a time of recognizing saints there as well. And so, and it's communion because it's the first Sunday of the month. And I'm really excited. You're going to be hearing a little bit about the saints who've gone before in our own church. And so you're definitely going to want to come hear that. Now, the final thing I want to talk about, uh, nope, there's two more. Man, there's two more. I just have so much to say today, I guess. The first is that you're going to be noticing an announcement in the bulletin uh, that we are looking to hire a facilities manager. And you're thinking, why? We already have a facilities manager. His name is Craig Sherman, and he's the best person ever. And we love him. And you're absolutely right that we do. And we do love him. But Craig is looking to retire. He will be retiring at the end of this year in December. And so we are looking for someone to fill those incredibly large shoes. As the facilities manager. And so if you know of someone, if you are someone who is looking for, it is not quite a full-time job. Um, and, it's a lot of cleaning and organizing and dealing with me, which may or may not persuade you to want to apply or not. Um, but we just want you to be aware that we love Craig. And in my opinion, there is no filling his shoes, but we are looking for the next right person. And so I don't want there to be any rumors that, but Craig, it's his time, and he deserves to have a wonderful retirement as well. And so we are going to start looking for that, and you're going to see that in the bulletin starting to be announced this week. And so um, we will definitely be honoring Craig as when he ends his time with us. But in the meantime, please be prayerfully considering who might be the next right person for that role. Okay, on to my final thing that I keep teasing, and then I keep thinking of other things to talk about. My final thing today is I am looking to put together a worship team once again. I would love to partner with a small group of people to help me think more creatively, a little bit outside of the box, to recruit in some different elements for worship. And so if you are someone who has a history of being on worship team, or someone who is creative to their core, especially people who are visually creative, who have maybe a lot of connections, who love music, who love the arts in any sort of way, who are passionate about our worship, please come talk to me, or to have me ask more about it, or say, Pastor Katie, can you take me out to coffee and tell me more about what your vision is for a worship team? Did you hear I said that? I will pay for the coffee. But I'm really looking to partner with some people on this. And so if that's something that speaks to you, if that's something you care deeply about, let me know, because I would really, yeah, I'm itching to work to collaborate is really what it is. And I would love for you to be a part of that if that is something that speaks to you. So I think I've talked enough for today. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you have a great Halloween this weekend. Find some joy in the festivities, and I'll see you on Sunday for our All Saints celebration. Until next time. God bless.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Going On, a video and audio podcast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. We'd love to have you join us for worship on Sundays at 10 a.m., either in person or via our live stream, which can be found at our website, www.firstumcyankton.org, or by searching First UMC Yankton on YouTube.